I'm just going to double check. Are we live? Hello and welcome everyone to Startup Live Life. Life Live. Oh my gosh. Hello and welcome to Startup Life Live. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, startup founder, coach, podcast host, and co-host of the popular monthly pitch event here in Boston called Founders Live Boston. How's everyone doing tonight? I hope you and your loved ones are staying strong and staying healthy out there. I'm just going to check the comment stream, see who we've got. Hey, April, how are you? Thanks for coming in and playing with us tonight and finding out what's going on and how we can manage our startups and navigate our startups through all of this. And I need to go like this for just a second. Okay, Melinda, I'll be right back. Hey, this whole going live stream and everything, you got to go with the flow, working all these angles here, etc. But I am so happy you're all here. Hi, Marielle O'Rourke. Oh my gosh, I'll be calling you out a few times tonight because you know how much I love you and your business. And anybody else, say hi. Hi, Allie. Oh, incredible founder coach. She's amazing. You've got to check out her work in the world. And we have Vicki. Hi, Vicki. Oh, sales and marketing goddess right there, everybody. And then if you really want to command the moment, you must follow and connect with Eric Cox. He's outstanding. And one of the original voices in podcasting, one of my favorite teachers, Richard O. So good to see you tonight, Richard. Woohoo! This is the fun part, is getting to see all of you here in the threads before we get, into the serious conversation, which I'm about to do right now, because I want to send out, first of all, a big virtual hug and thank you to all of our healthcare workers and frontline folks. Thank you so much for your selfless acts of bravery and compassion. Of course, we're celebrating you today on World Health Day, but we're celebrating you every single day. So grateful for what you're doing to help the world and those who are suffering and dealing with COVID-19. Founders, I got to tell you, with 4 businesses to my credit, I know from personal experience what everyone's going through, especially now, given that 2 of my 4 businesses came to an abrupt halt, completely devastated due to circumstances that were unforeseen and absolutely out of my control. And I got to tell you, it's a horrible experience. And my heart goes out to anyone who is struggling to keep their businesses open or who are having to close the door forever on a beloved business. And I got to tell you, the loss is huge. All right. And I didn't just lose my money. I lost my investors' money, which is a horrible experience. But not only that, I have to admit, I lost hope and I definitely lost faith for quite a few months. And that's okay, because here's what I know to be true. Founders are meant to be founders. You are meant to bring your full expression to the world as a business owner. You have spent years building your resiliency muscles, your adaptability quotient, and your ability to do hard things every single day. It is okay to mourn the loss of your momentum and to mourn, in some cases, the loss of your unfulfilled dream. But please know this, a new dream is waiting for you and you will rise again. So now more than ever, we need to stick together to navigate these tumultuous and really difficult and what the heck is going on times, holding hands virtually. I'm holding your hands with you right here to find strategies and solutions for this new normal. So be sure to introduce yourselves in the comment thread. Let everybody know where you're hailing from. I'm hailing from Boston. And share your business and your COVID-19 challenges with all of us. Because the theme at Startup Life Live is a problem shared is a problem halved. Your questions and concerns are so important. So please pop them in the comment threads and we'll do our best to answer them live or offline later. Tonight, oh boy, we have phenomenal female founder, investor, growth strategist, and podcast host joining us. Let's give a round of applause and a hearty welcome to Malinda Gagnon. Let me bring her in, everybody.
Hi, Andy.
I can hear you all out there. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, Melinda. I'm so thrilled that you're here. We have some great folks in here. Let me just say a quick hello to Adnaida. Adnaida and I go back 20 some years. Such a wonderful woman, amazing business with her perfect pals. I'm not sure if I got that right, Adnaida. So let everybody put the link to your businesses in the threads, folks, and share it with everybody. And one of the best mentors out there, No Fall. Look what I'm wearing, Invisiwear. Woohoo! Hi, Lori Waters Johnson. Oh, please share what you're doing in life. We'd love to know. Okay. Thank you. Eric's hailing from Merrimack Valley, right around the corner from us. That's wonderful. So glad you are all here tonight. So, Melinda, I got to tell you, you've been very busy for 2 decades. You've been rocking it in digital communications for some amazing companies like Google and Group M. But in 2019, you launched Uprise Partners. And I'd love for you to share with everyone before we dive deep into navigating a startup during COVID-19, what compelled you to launch a business? Share your startup story, please.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm so happy to be here with you. This is fantastic. And thank you for doing this. So really, I've always been a founder. Your comments in the beginning, I think it's something that's just in us, that it's a certain personality that wants to create and wants to see opportunity and just envision what could be possible. And I really was more of an entrepreneur earlier in my career. So I was at Google. I was fortunate to be a part of the founding team in the Boston office. We were in startup space. We were down the hall from HubSpot and in One Broadway, for anyone who knows the scene over in Kendall Square. And it was a really exciting time. So I kind of got that bug, if you will, of just a fast-growing team. And of course, the energy of Google. This was only a couple years after their ad product launched. So it was a booming time and just a ton of fantastic energy. And from Google, I was recruited to Group M. And what I ended up doing there over almost 10 years, I started 2 different teams there from scratch. So, saw the opportunity in the business and built it up.
Let everybody know, Group M is huge.
Yes, Group M is the world's largest media company and investment arm. It's part of WPP. And basically we had specialty agencies, audience technologies, everything that you need to basically run media, so digital and traditional, under one roof.
Wow. And so you launched 2 separate entities with them, but what was it? I mean, you were, of course, I'm always asking people, why'd you give up payroll?
Sometimes I wonder too. So really for me, when I looked at what I was offering of myself, I felt that I had given Group M everything that I had for them, that I had really given my best there. And it was time for me to think of what was next. And part of that was thinking about how could I help my clients, but also startups that I was advising, because they weren't my clients, because I worked with a Fortune 500 set while I was there. But in my role as leading product and technology at Group M, I had the opportunity to work with many startups to basically see how we could bring them into the Group M fold, get them working with some of these fantastic, huge brands, and also nurturing them and advising them along so they were ready to take advantage of some of those big opportunities. So I wanted to figure out, well, how could I advance the work? How could I help businesses to grow? And I really wanted to think about how I could work in rapid innovation spaces, which brought me to work with a lot of startups.
So explain rapid innovation spaces.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So basically what we built with Uprise, and I founded the company with my husband, Malinda Gagnon. He's our CTO. Talk about being all in. We both left our big corporate jobs. So he ran engineering at Western Digital. So one of the two big storage companies globally. Mm-hmm. And we both had the same vision of, wouldn't it be cool to have one company that is really a growth engine? So to think about having under one roof the skill set to launch and grow a company. So we have an engineering team, and they are brilliant. They can handle everything from product strategy to figuring out the roadmap to the engineers to actually build whatever you need to build. We have go-to-market capabilities, so sales and marketing, from, again, strategy to hands-on keyboards, running ads, creating collateral, all of that. And then the business strategy piece, because we've grown a lot of businesses and understand, that element of it. So that's what we built.
And what kind of companies do you work with? Can you work from consumer product to tech, or?
We can, yeah, and that's, we get that question a lot. What verticals do you work in? And really, we have worked with consumer packaged goods. We work with auto. We work with, of course, a lot of tech companies. Our backgrounds are in tech. We work with professional services companies. So yeah, it really spans the board.
Anyone who wants to grow, who's a startup, right? So you're taking them from, they've launched, they've branded, they've built, and now they've proved their MVP, and now they're ready to start and expanding, right, and scaling.
Absolutely. And even if a company hasn't gotten to the point where they know how to create that MVP or what that direction is, we have the ability to help nurture that. So we're actually starting something this summer, which we're really excited about, an incubation kind of idea where we'll invite entrepreneurs to come in, even if they're just in that ideation phase, and work with us to say, okay, how do we bring this to life? That's what we're super passionate about. Like, let's get great founders who have a lot of energy, figure out what that idea is, and let's make it happen and bring it to life.
Oh my gosh. All right, founders. So this is who we have in the house tonight, who's going to help us as we start thinking about how do we retool our business strategies and our roadmaps. So I've got a quick question I'm going to pop in here to the audience, which is, how many founders watching right now are finding or trying to find new pathways to reach new customers? Put your questions in. Let us know where you're at on that. What are some of the things that okay. Hey, Seymour just launched a business, okay, called Rollin', and it is your auto mechanic on demand, okay? Terrific idea. Be sure to share the link to your business in the show notes there, in the comment thread, Seymour. What can folks be doing? Because, we all had the rug pulled out from underneath us so quickly, and all of a sudden it's like now we're at home. Well, a lot of us were already there, but we've got kids around us because they can't go to school. We're navigating all this, but our businesses maybe have shifted. And how do we start to retool and start looking at our business strategy and find new pathways to customers?
And this is something that I've been talking with a lot of startup founders about, and obviously with this changing environment. And I think, one of the things that we have to think about right now is really, well, how do we get to know our customer again? We all, of course, are absolutely focused on serving them, but how do we know them in this new environment? And to your point, are they at home with kids they're trying to homeschool? Are they trying to care for someone else who needs that help? Are they trying to, work remotely for the first time and they can't figure it out? What are some of those challenges? And even if you don't have a product or service that directly addresses those challenges, that it still allows you to be empathetic in how you're reaching out to them and connecting with them. So either way, you just have to, do what we always do, right? But drop yourself into a very different situation given everything going on.
Right. And also the fact that they're changing too. They had the rug pulled out of them in whatever circumstance they're in, whether you're a B2B or a B2C, right?
Absolutely. And, I think it's probably safe to say that a lot of us are sick of, opening our inbox and there's another COVID-19 email. We're just, of course, we're all swimming in it and we're dealing with it. So I think it's something to also think about with, yes, we have to acknowledge it, to be empathetic and to be real, but let's do so in a way that is being proactive and constructive. And yes, acknowledge that we're all going through a difficult time, but how can you contribute? And even if it's just like lending an ear, that was something that I reached out to. I didn't have solutions for people when this, I would say I have a whole lot of them now, but at least we're a little further into it. But I just said, hey, if you just want to talk through some ideas, that was something I could do, right? So we all have those things, a little something we can offer.
I love that. So Diane Nasham, who's a phenomenal business called PhotoPad, tell us the best strategy when bootstrapping. Oh boy, that's a great, I'm going to just keep that up there, Diane. That's a great question, Diane, because now, we've been, bringing in the money, maybe using some of our own money. We've got everything super lean. And now you can't go any leaner than bootstrapping.
Right.
What are some thoughts on getting the word out and, using your own elbow grease?
Yeah, I think that what you need to do at a time like this, first of all, it's given this current environment, if you're bootstrapping and you don't have credit lines already set up and you really don't have that already in place, it's going to be tough to do that right now, except for the CARES Act and what we have going on right there, which if I'm sure everyone's looked at this, but it's at sba.gov. There are multiple options there. But I think if you're bootstrapping and waiting for that to come in, it's being super focused on who you can reach out to help. There are plenty of businesses right now that are doing just fine and actually booming. So if you think about those areas and how you can intersect with them in some way, start to get creative. Can you offer your products and services to these companies? Can you partner with them in some way? Maybe you offer something that's complementary to what they offer, and really look at, okay, there are still spots in this economy that are doing well. How can you contribute? How can you play there?
Great answer. And Seymour's wondering, does it make sense to still run ads? And if so, do we have to use pandemic verbiage? Great question.
It's a really, really great question. So it makes sense to run ads and to keep that spend if your product is relevant right now. Now, if you are in an area, let's say you're selling a good that is really dependent on discretionary spending, and that portion of the population is pulling back right now, well, it may not make sense to keep up with that ad budget. If that market is not there, it may make sense to pull back. One of the areas that I've seen a lot of contraction is in marketing and advertising. But that's not across every industry. So you may be in a field such as digital collaboration tools, IT, something that is still really strong right now. Maybe you want to increase your ad spend, but be targeted about it and how you're intersecting with current, people's needs in this environment in those industries that are really taking off. And one other thing I'll say about ads is that the policies around using language and targeting around COVID-19 has been updated, because that was actually banned or really kind of pulled back on by Google, YouTube, and so forth as being sensitive content. It's now just part of life and we have to deal with that, but that's just something to keep in mind. You should be fine to.
That's great.
In those areas.
I would say hi to Alicia here. Remember at Founders Live when you were our expert in the incredible fruit display, and in the back of the room, this is Alicia. She has that phenomenal, I think, boutique appetit. Put your link into the show in the comment threads, Alicia. But I love just reaching out, being genuine, and just being there. I'm watching you, Alicia. You're doing that online really, really well, and reminding folks that you're still there, and that you are a caring person in their life, so that when we can be together again and touch and serve food to each other, you'll be there. And then, hi, Christine. Christine is real quickly, functional medicine nutritionist. And, how do you get, you're going to have to take it all online.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can advertise on Zoom. That's a great idea. Find other ways. What I love about StreamYard here is I can stream live across Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, reach more people. Maybe there's advertising opportunities with them as well. That's great. I'm just looking at some more questions here. And Eric, who of course he was helping people shine when it was their time, with CEOs talking, etc. And so, like a guest teacher, I like that. I like the idea of creating content for kids who are learning at home, sort of like a guest teacher. That's great. Thinking of creative ways, everybody. I love that. So, and as far as retooling your business plan, you've got time on your hands, unless you're one of the companies that are really growing right now. You've got time in your hands to step back and look at what you've been doing. Does your map make sense? Not just for now, but for 30 days out, 60 days out, 90 days out. Just really be retooling it. Look at the roadmap. Use your business model generation map, canvas map, to really rethink your business. So another thing that I think is always a challenge when there's a downturn in the economy or something else has happened, and I have quite a bit of experience at this, is chatting with investors in your business. So I'm going to throw out the question into the comment threads: best practices for communicating with investors as your business slides downwards. And my big comment onto that is don't disappear.
I fully agree to not disappear. And the thing is, I think a lot of people certainly are discouraged right now because the term sheets aren't coming in. Even if they are expecting one, when this hit, it just stopped. And it makes sense in that, investors are looking at their current portfolios. How do they help their portfolio companies that they have right now? And we're all in the same boat together. We're waiting to see, what is this going to mean? What is it going to mean for consumers? What is it going to mean for the economy? So this is the same mindset that everyone's in. But there's one thing that really hasn't changed, is that you always need to be educating and familiarizing your investors and your potential investors in what you're doing and how you're progressing. Now is no different. They still will listen. They'll still read your emails. They'll still take a meeting. But the funding just may not happen quickly. So think about, as you said, how are you responding? How are you seeing the world differently? What does that mean for your business? Be thoughtful about it. And there's going to be a plan. There is. Maybe you'll have to delay a product launch because of this. Maybe you launch to a different market or launch in a different way. But there is a way to go about it. And definitely don't stop reaching out to those investors and your current investors.
Yeah, and I also will add to that, which is bring them in. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how you all are doing right now, but many investors are working shoulder to shoulder. If they have any expertise in the area of the business, they're rolling up their sleeves and jumping on in. Do not be afraid to ask. They have a lot at stake with you and your business as well. They care deeply. I mean, if you're with an aligned investor with your business, they do care. They care about you and everything that's going on with your business. And I have to share, Melinda, a really quick story. A gentleman I interviewed a few months ago in a prior business, it was 2008. He and his team had been working 24/7 for probably 4 years. And now, I think they may have had, maybe 10 million in the business from investors. And now it's 2008. It's like, what a mess, right? What did their angel investors do? They said, look, We're sending all of you and your families on vacation. We're covering it all. You guys have been working so hard. Go take 2 weeks. Remember who you are, recalibrate, and come back. And sure enough, the whole team came back, hit the ground running, and it was the best investment those investors ever made.
I love that. Fantastic. And I fully believe in that philosophy. Sometimes you need to just stop and step back, and then those like epiphanies happen. It usually happens when you're out for a walk, right? Or just like not actually thinking about the problem when you have
Right,
these
right.
ideas.
So if you need help composing the email, please reach out. I have a lot of experience with investor communications. My first business was heavily backed by venture capitalists, over 8 million. My second business, I'm still good friends with the angel investor today, even though he didn't make out so well. He still said, and again, when you've got great investors in your business, they know there's risk, but they know that they're backing your ability to get through whatever is possible to get through. And my guy said to me, Andy, even knowing going in that this was going to happen, that was the best 4+ year run. We had every opportunity. I loved every minute, So it's hard. It's a heartache when you have to lose anybody's money ever. And you never want that to happen. But again, that's why it's so important to make sure you bring on investors that are right for you. So if you need any help composing those communications to investors and some brainstorming and how to have some of those difficult conversations, depending where your business is at, please reach out to me. And I will be happy to help you with that. Any other thoughts around investors and communicating with them, Melinda, before I move on to the next?
No, I think
Okay, good.
that's really it, to just keep it up. You just have to keep it going. Yeah.
Great. Always stay active. Communication is key, whether you're down or up. Thank you. Communication goddess, Vicky. And hi, Laurie. Yes, thanks so much. Thanks so much for the message. Now is not the time to go radio silent. Amen to that. That was just awesome. So now we got to talk about the thing that happens during this time, which is cash flow is king. Cash is king. So you really have to double down on cash flow because it's not business as usual. Any thoughts on this, Melinda?
Yeah, so I was thinking about getting lean, and how lean can you afford to go? How lean do you need to go? So one of the things to look at is, how is your business able to grow right now? And are there areas that you typically target, whether it be your products, your services, that aren't going to have as much traction right now? Pull back on those areas and really push hard in any area that could contribute in this environment. So really, really be focused in on that, and thinking about like little things like social media. For example, a lot of businesses that are in the B2B space, maybe LinkedIn is great, but your other channels aren't. If you can even focus your team's time less on Facebook and Instagram, do that. Like literally look at what your entire team is doing and say, hey, you know what? Yes, we love those things. And in times where we don't have to be this lean, that's important for awareness and it's important to get the word out. But right now, we need to put more dollars in the bank, and it needs to be short term. Of course, that's all important for long term, but right now it is a bit of a short term game. And that's what, you really need to think about is, how lean do I have to go? Meaning, how much can I afford to cut back on those long-term things? Because ultimately you don't want to do that for too long, because that starts to work to your detriment. But
that's right. And a road. Yeah, but what you have going already, it's really, again, the decisions are really tough. You can use some founder intuition, certainly, but get some counsel from your attorney, from your accountant. Find some creative ways that you can, even if it's like, letting go of a lease, if that makes sense, to downsize your business. Some folks I'm hearing are even sharing resources and staff. I mean, team, like, all of a sudden you can't afford the full salary of your CTO, maybe you share them with another business. I mean, this is where creativity is key, because you're trying to keep your business alive for 4 to 6 months.
Absolutely. And you know, some of those resources that were you know, mentioned earlier, that you know, with the CARES Act that rolled out, there's you know, the payroll protection program, that if you apply for that, you can get up to 8 weeks of payroll potentially forgiven. So that's huge. There's the disaster loan program that you could also have $10,000 in advance that is also forgiven. So there are programs, and I'm sure everyone's seen these programs, but it's on SBA.gov, and it's kind of confusing, and honestly, the terms are kind of changing day to day. But my advice is to just start the application process. We're all in the same boat, and you'll figure it out as you go. But it's better to just start the process and work with your, you know, accounting firm to get all the documents.
Absolutely. I just put a link in, everybody, for Forbes. Shared today 19 resources that I thought were pretty outstanding. Go check them out. Maybe they're a fit for you. I also want to share with you a wild and crazy guy on YouTube that I follow. And he has this, he just has this a way of delivering really great information that's complicated. I mean, he just sort of goes through the CARES Act. He'll go through the Paycheck Recognition Protection Program, forgivable loan versus employee retention credit. He goes right through the stimulus package and forgivable small business loans. And he just puts them right down into common sense. And he's terrific. He has a huge following, and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to put those in here into the comment section, so that you can see it, and go grab these links and go check them out. And I mean, you're going to laugh with me when you see this guy, but honest to goodness, he's really good at taking very complicated information and just going nuts and bolts right through it. It's wonderful. Let me just, here's the second one.
Like that. Not that the SBA.gov site isn't, you know, fantastic, but it's kind of a lot to wade through. So
I left the S out of stimulus, you guys. But anyway, the link is there, and that's what's key. And you'll see him. He's like, okay, here's what we got. We got to do this. We got to do that. Don't do this. If you're this, watch out. And he's very up to date on everything. And you can ask him questions in the comment thread on YouTube. So be sure to check that out. And then I also wanted to share with everybody here too, that, you know, since we're talking about this, that one of our favorite local, I don't know, organizations, they're called the Capital Network. They take care of founders like nobody's business. And they have a webinar on Thursday called CARES Act, What's in It for Startups. I'm going to put it right here into the comment section again. And sign up anywhere in the world. You can join. You don't have to be Boston based. They would love to see you. They would love to help you. This organization, Maria Meslin, who is the executive director. So have you met her, Melinda?
Yeah, she's awesome. I love the Capital Network. Fantastic.
Yeah, of course you do. You're amazing. So they have a great webinar on that on Thursday, April 9th, and tremendous. And again, you know, so much of this information is coming out. We don't know where we fall, especially if you're a freelancer, if it's a company paying for a freelancer, how does the payroll work with that? New information is coming out every day. But get creative. Maybe you need to do a little crowdsourcing right now, you know, getting people to put in, because if you can prove through your retooled and remapped business plan that there is light at the end of the tunnel, but this is what it's going to look like for 30, 60, 90, 120 days, you can show that. You can probably get some short-term money from other people who are out there that want to help. You never know. Be creative. And of course, always, always, always ask for help. All right. Now that we got all of that out of the way, Melinda, now you're working with clients. You have a portfolio of clients and perhaps companies that you've invested in. Where are you at with everybody? How are you communicating with them, and how are you helping them?
Yeah. So, I mean, what we're seeing, actually, we've been very busy. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, with this, everyone having to work from home, are you having some time to, take a little breather?" And it's like, no, we're working, we're busier actually, because we're having to have these conversations about, okay, what does this mean? And we've had a lot of great conversations where our clients, our portfolio companies are saying, okay, how do we change our product development roadmap? We had one company, for example, we completely retooled how they were going to market, because it is a product that has to do with discretionary spending, and the market's not there now. So we had to basically go from, the first rollout that was going to test the waters, and move to basically the next iteration of that plan, because the world has changed so much. And
So I'm curious, why didn't you just halt the launch?
Because the product is still absolutely relevant. It's just basically the technology that needs to be built for the product has to make it more efficient and a lot smarter to make the business work. And so it means stepping on the gas and getting that technology built. So, and so that's, how we had to change the plan there. So we're seeing a ton of course, energy around remote working tools. Mm-hmm. So technologies that fuel that. Collaboration tools are huge. I mean, a lot of going on there. Online education materials. So, there's a lot that's still really booming right now. A lot of companies are saying, actually, let's hold a little on new projects, mm-hmm. but we still need to, keep kind of the status quo moving. And those are, of course, in fields that are more affected with what's happening right now. So, anything around, food service or hospitality or travel, of course, that's just the reality of those fields.
Yeah. Hey, I just had a thought, viewers. If you're looking for an intern, we have a phenomenal institution called HULT International School of Business. I can give you an email for Maria, and she handles all the internship programs there. They have a campus in Boston. They have a campus in San Francisco. They have several around the world as well. But for U.S. purposes, some of the best interns I've ever worked with have come out of this school, and they can work virtually. And most of them are working for course credit. I mean, I still think anytime you're doing an intern, Amazon gift cards need to happen. But as far as, having to keep bootstrapped, get that extra help that you need without increasing your overhead through payroll, be thinking about that. Reach out to me if you need some information on that. Thank you, Melinda. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no.
But I'm still very, very excited and intrigued about the hitting the gas, because so often this is where people can be too conservative during a really difficult time like this. And they forget about the, the opportunities that are out there, and not taking advantage of that, even though it's so hard. So I love that you knew enough about the product and the marketplace and what the business needed. Excuse me, everybody. I'm just going to have a little sip here.
Well, and that's what I think. I guess the silver lining to all of this, I always try to look for the silver lining in like everything, but the silver lining here is that we're all in the same boat together. It's not as if, this is a West Coast problem or an East Coast problem, or, in one country of the world. Like, this is across the board. So the good news is that it's a level playing field, right? We are all feeling this. We all have the challenges of running our businesses in, I would say physical isolation, connected purely digitally. That's different for all of us. Of course, we're not all in the same boat if you are a Marriott versus a Zoom, right. Of course. But when we think about, how this environment is, how our customers need us in different ways, there are ways that we can help, so yeah, I think it's just really zeroing in on what do people need right now, and any way that you can,
Absolutely. And this is, again, founders, you have what's called founder intuition, and you have a high AQ, which is just a new thing I learned about from Arlan Hamilton's book, which is coming out on May 5th. It's about damn time. And she talks about AQ, which is your adaptability quotient. So you have your IQ and your EQ. Now there's an AQ, which is definitely what founders have in abundance, is your adaptability. So once you can step back and just go, whew. And again, this is for those of you who can pull back just a little, who can retool and rework your roadmap. It's not going to be the case for everybody. Some people are just going to have to shut the door. And I want to remind all of you that you can come back from that. Founders are always innovating and iterating, and ideas are abundance. So you will come up with another idea if, in fact, your current business does not make it, because you are meant to be a founder. And I'm just always going to keep harping on that, Melinda.
I love that point. And we never want to brace ourselves for failure and to think that we have to shut something down. But one thing that I've been super encouraged about and want to be really clear with founders is that this thing that we're all doing together, building businesses and helping each other, we have to, and we are really supportive of when someone has to do something different, right? Or something didn't work and now they're jumping into the next thing. That's just part of this. And so, we've all been there. We will be there if we haven't been there yet. And, it's okay. And not to say it's not painful and scary and all those things, because it is.
I'm going to share a few comments from folks. Hey, Marielle O'Rourke. Thank you for that. Okay, so Melinda, Marielle does makeup for the stars, the big celebrities, whether they're professional or actor celebrities, and of course, weddings. She's the most amazing makeup. Well, I guess it's called Marielle Artistry. So it's the whole shebang, to make you look great. Phenomenal resource. Marielle, you can teach us all how to cut our hair now that we're all home. Those of us with short hair, honest to God, this is killing. I'm getting wigs coming up. So what are we going to do with all this short hair that's growing like this? Anyway, everybody, you've got to follow Marielle wherever she glows, because her content is amazing and how she beautifies the world with the most lovely nature of anyone in the world. Just pure deliciousness. And Eric's comment, I think a resources aggregator would be a great business, actually. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yes.
Great idea. And Diane as well. And Diane, PM me and I will get you that information. Wealth of resources and information. Thank you. And then Vicky says, I love that, Melinda. Finding a silver lining helps pick up pieces faster and move on. Exactly. And Christine, I love what you're saying about how we should seize the moment and step up our game. Beautiful. Eric is wondering, Melinda, what has Melinda's greatest challenge been so far in this new normal? Great question, Eric. Thank you.
Let's see. My biggest challenge in the new normal is getting to everybody who I want to talk with, quite honestly. I literally have days I just go from call to call, and it's great. I literally just, I want to keep talking to people and offering my 2 cents where it helps, because I feel like the more we can just talk together and have those different ideas of how, those little intersections that I talked about, of how you can, have that message that resonates with people, how you can just, tweak something about your product or service to make it relevant right now. I talked with an event company the other day. There are no events going on, this poor company. But what we talked about was, well, how can you get ready for when the doors open again? And what is that market that's going to be so ready to just give you money to say, yes, let's do events? And I won't say what the idea is, but there are markets that are going to be like, yes, we are so craving something to do with other people. It's going to boom, right? Getting ready for that.
It is. And I'm scrolling back because I know Eric's had a great comment back in the threads, but I can't seem to find it right now. And that is, continue creating content as a form of communication. It's true. The days are going to come and we're going to hit the ground running. It's going to come back, especially for the live events and live interaction and touching again. I feel badly for all the beauty salons and nail salons. When they open again, they're going to have lines outside the door. Just saying.
Well, and thinking about that, what can you do to fully take advantage of that when the time comes? Yeah, to your point, is there content you can create so you can just like launch blogs and ads and just get the blitz out there? Is there something, if you are a beauty salon, can you find more staff because you're going to be swamped in the first month or two? Just get ready for it, because you can look ahead. You're right, it's going to come.
Oh my gosh. And look, Chris from BNT, Boston New Technology. Hey, Chris, you're actually developing a resource aggravated. Of course you are. Such a creative man, innovative man. Chris runs in Boston so much of our many of events that we have here, but a long-standing one. I think over 110, 115, Chris, I don't know how many in a row that you have had until just recently, of Boston New Technology. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But you're right. We have to keep moving forward in however we can. And if we're putting pauses and we're finding creative ways to sort of hover right now, finding all those different ideas so that when we do get to go, it's kind of like what Alicia was saying, and what I watched her do. I mean, she has a business that brings gorgeously displayed and carved fruit and vegetables and deli meats, et cetera, into beautiful designs. It's mind-blowing, the artistry that's involved. And she, that's her business, bringing them to the events. But right now she keeps reminding folks about how she is in the world through personal photos of displays that were in the past, and just talking to people. I just love that idea. I am seeing companies still raising capital. I know VCs have pulled back, investors have pulled back, but there's still some opportunities to move money, and investors, not just in COVID-19 companies, but they also want to invest in small businesses around the country. What are you seeing in the funding arena right now? And can a company still raise money during a pandemic?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's certainly slowing, but I think we still need to, keep the communications going, keep asking for it, even if the answer is, hey, we need to wait a few more weeks, we need to wait a month. But I don't think this is going to last very long. And now, what is very long? My guess, looking into my crystal ball, that I wish I had, that I think in a month we're going to really, really see a change here, because there's still funds to be given, right? It's not like that went away. They're still sitting on a fund that they have to deploy. They're just figuring out, what does this new world look like? Mm-hmm. How are we affected now? What are the new opportunities? And are those opportunities going to be different 6 months from now? How is this going to change the world and consumers' appetites and businesses' appetites, right? Let's think about what this has done to the business community. This has forced every business to have that digital transformation that we all hear about. It's forced us there. Yeah. And maybe it's been really ugly for some of these businesses. And we're helping a lot of businesses become remote ready and, put things in digital format that have always been on paper. It's wild. But that is going to change how we do business for a long time. So that these are
Right.
some things investors are thinking about, right? Because some of this is going to be short-lived, but some of this is going to be longer-lived because we've learned a lot from this
Wait,
experience.
and as far as, getting lean during this time, the digital transformation and cutting out redundancy, even in an already lean business, there's always room for improvement on systems and procedures that can work better and not take up so much of people's time, like commuting.
Oh, absolutely. I'm one of the things I'm really interested to see is, I know a lot of people are going to be so thrilled to get back into the office and back with people, and there are going to be other businesses and other people who say, actually, this remote work thing, this work from home thing, actually worked beautifully.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see where all that falls and how we work and how we relate together.
Well, it was what, 9, 10, 11 years ago that Rework was written, that book. But still, it's so hard to change our ways until we're forced to. I
Absolutely.
love that. And I don't know, did you read today that Jack from Twitter is selling 28% of his share in Square, which is worth, what, $1 billion? And he's putting it toward COVID-19. And when that's done, and pandemic-like things, when that's done, it'll then transition to helping women and girls throughout the world. So, we've got people stepping up in a really big way for really big problems, which frees up investor capital, because at the end of the day, I mean, yes, they've lost money on paper as well as in principle in the market, but that will come back. And there's other ways of using your assets that are going to give you more of a fulfilled feeling. You have to remember, investors, of course, they're very pragmatic, and they're going to, take you through the whole routine as they do their due diligence on you. But it's a thrill to invest in a business that they believe in. And it is the ride. It is an emotionally exciting time. Right, No Fall? And so, just one of the folks listening here, it's exciting. It can, get a little hairy sometimes, but these investors, whether they were in large corporate and they're part of Launchpad because, they did really well in their large corporate jobs, or they're cashed out entrepreneurs, they still want to invest their money. They're not going to go off to Atlantic City when we can stop social distancing. And they do want to, whether it's 25K, 50, 100, to them, this is a good use of their money. Even though they know there's always the risk of losing it, the opportunity to invest in you and your business is there, which is why when you work with me on your pitch deck, oh, shameless plug time, I make sure that you're delivering the right message so that you are finding the right aligned investors and giving them exactly what they need to hear about you and your business. And not only preparing you to answer those tough questions from investors, but to ask really good and important questions of them. Okay, off my soapbox. Oh, good. Thank you, Novel. Oh,
I want to mention, if I could, another silver lining that I see in all of this, when you were talking about, yes, people are going to keep investing, it's going to keep happening, that in times where we have this tumultuousness, this just complete shakeup in how we live, how we work, we are learning so much about human behavior, about what we really care about, and that uncovers tremendous insight. And so if we can just, again, have those entrepreneur eyes that we all have and just say, wow, what is this uncovered about us? And how can I capture this opportunity? You may find that you have a whole bigger idea to go chase, like after going through all of this.
I love that, something fierce. And I know the folks watching later or now are like, yes, because guess what, founders? That's how we think, right? I mean, you've got 10 ideas behind you already
Exactly.
to come out. Oh my gosh, this is such a great conversation. I just want to, thank you, Adnaida. Yes, amazing pivots ahead, Lori. Hey, Lori, you have a business? Share. What's making your heart sing these days? Okay, so let's look at what we've been talking about here. da, 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 da. And now, of course, we have to learn how to lead. You spoke earlier about in the new landscape, how is the customer changing? Is there anything else you want to add to that from what you said earlier?
I mean, I think just in terms of how businesses are changing, I think we're thinking a lot more about security and what that means for businesses. We're thinking about how to actually be a digitally empowered and enabled organization, how people can be more nimble, and how to think about business continuity in a very different way from a location standpoint, from a technology standpoint. So yes, I think, as individuals, we have some very different concerns, but businesses are also thinking of things differently. And we always say those things are important, but now it's hit us in the face and we have to do something about it.
Good point. And now we're also having to lead. So while you might be like that guy or gal that you see going, you're the founder, you can't, okay? But you can go home to your loved one or call me, I'll hold your hand and we'll together. But, and we'll get you through that. But when you show up in front of your vendors, in front of your customers, in front of your employees and your team, and in front of your investors, what's important, Melinda?
I think it's important that you're authentic. I mean, if you don't yet have a plan, say that. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this yet, but this is what I do know. I know X, Y, and Z is no longer an option. I know my customer appetite has changed this way, so I'm solving for that. And it's just about, you just got to be real with where you're at, and you might have to start from the drawing board in a few areas, but that's okay. And to your point earlier about being open with your investors or whomever you're talking with, your vendors, about where you are, we're all in this together. We all are. So we're going to figure it out together too.
Honestly, I have to just say that's the beauty about it happening all now with all of us. It's just because here we are all together. So everybody is pretty, conversant in what's happening. And I mean, you've got to face the brutal facts, everybody. You've got to look things in the face, but remember, you're founders. You know how to be brave. You know how to be resilient. You know how to be tenacious. And you need to role model that for your team members. So leading during this time of severe upheaval, as much as you might, want to run into the street going, we're all going to die. The reality is you're a problem solver. So that is momentary, and they're important, those feelings. Don't hide from them. Just go, thank you for sharing. Again, like the baking soda in a delicious cake, you got to blend that in there because you wouldn't want to eat baking soda by itself. But for that cake to rise and be delicious in the oven, you've got to put that terrible tasting baking soda in there. It's the same thing with your fear and doubt. You blend it in and you role model to everybody and you show everybody that you are a problem solver. And as Melinda said, here's what I know to be true. Here's the problem I'm solving for that now. And how may I help you, team members, get through this? How may I help you, vendors? Is there a way to negotiate with vendors for better terms? So maybe you are a B2B business with a large corporate that was 90 days, dang it, or 120, dang it. No. Renegotiate, see if there's other things you can do, maybe get receivables in faster, delay payables, whatever you can do to lighten the load and make things easier on you and your team. And not just communicate so much with your team, but as we said earlier, with the investors, with everybody, that transparency is so important. And what I meant to say is with the team, you don't have to put on a super brave face, but you do need to show them that in spite of the deep concern you may have, and in spite of the brutal facts, that we are all in this together and we're going to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, in the conversation we've had, at Uprise is, hey, we're going to focus in this area right here because this is where people really need the help. And guess what? We need to keep doing what we're doing and have even more focus because there are a lot of things that are going to distract us right now. And those are all worthy things. But let's just really dig in here and,
Exactly. And Christine, I hear your questions here. There are people in the threads that can help you, and we can talk about this offline because, certainly helping people who are home that, have the symptoms, they don't need to, go to the hospital, but they're trying to get through the day with a high fever. Any, new learning they can have about boosting their immune system, hydration, anything you can do as a functional medicine provider. And I definitely want your details too. um, that's great. And there's so many wonderful B2B opportunities. Of course, I'm going to say get certified as a woman-owned business through WeBank, because then you can go in through supplier diversity programs. That's for another conversation. But that's great. Hey, Vicki, I'm always grateful when you show up. Thank you, because you always bring great comments to everybody in the comment thread as well, and great insights. So thank you for that. And Lori, oh, good. Now we get to know what Lori's up to. I work with a nonprofit, Maine Center for Entrepreneurs, providing programming and mentoring for Maine entrepreneurs. Yay, Lori! Oh, we love. Oh, and
I have a wonderful accelerator program that I've been involved with this year.
Are you, so is that in Portland?
So it's all throughout the state of Maine.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yay. And yes, Ignita, we're all in this together. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Let me just go back to my notes. Let's see if we've looked at everything. And remember, ask for help. It is I'd say the number one strategy every founder needs to know. Ask for help. You're not supposed to know it all, especially if you're a newbie founder. There's no training for this. Ask for help. And as we said earlier when we started off, a problem shared is a problem halved. Okay, everybody. Melinda, I am going to be so grateful as I rewatch this with your profound insights and inspiration and strategies and solutions for everyone. I am so delighted that you joined me on the Startup Life Live. I got to get that name down straight in the beginning. And I'm so grateful, viewers. Thank you for tuning in to the Startup Life Live show. I am genuinely grateful for your time. And I'm confident you learned something today to take away and make your journey as a business owner and as a founder easier. If you have any questions for Melinda and me, if you'd like to continue the conversation, please leave a comment or shoot us an email. You've got our emails flying by in the banners below. To receive an alert whenever I post a new video or stay on top of any new show that I've got going on, please hop over to Meetup. I'll put the link in the show notes and join my Meetup group. That way you'll be alerted every time I go live, which is really every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. But you'll be able to hear what the topics are each week. Please subscribe to my monthly newsletter. Let's stick together because, it takes a village to raise a business. We're all clear about that now. And if you're struggling with how to move forward in the new normal, please call me. I can help you retool your business plan, communicate with your investors, find resources, renegotiate with team members and vendors, and if necessary, help you in case we all hope, fingers crossed, this doesn't happen. But if you do need to unwind things, I'm here for you that as well. The links will be in the show notes and in the comments. Schedule time with me. Use the discount code LIFELINE for a significant discount on my services. I want to say that next Tuesday, April 14 at 7 p.m. ET, we have hands-on CTO, angel investor, founder of Fast CTO, and a fave mentor in the Boston startup landscape, Igor Belogorodsky. And we're talking all about tech development and how not to waste time and money on product development. And if anybody knows Igor, if you have any questions about tech, if you've got a tech company and you've have any challenges whatsoever, you can come and have a question and Igor will answer it. But you have to be prepared. He will tell you that's a terrible idea. Just saying, you have to prepare for the good and the bad with Igor. And here's the link for my Meetup group. I'm going to just pop that into the comment threads here. And then we'll just do a final showing of these wonderful comments here from our viewers today. Thank you, Diane. Diane's from Seattle, Melinda. I met her 7 years ago online. Can you believe it? You can meet so many wonderful people online. Thank you, Marielle, for showing up. And Lori, great to learn about all that you're doing in Maine. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful news. And Eric, yay. And you're welcome. Yay, Diane. And Tom Maloney. Oh gosh, we miss seeing you. Tom is so instrumental and the glue that holds much of our startup community together, everyone. So that's great. And then Nofal, a favorite mentor that I share mentoring with over at Entrepreneurship for All. And Rick, great to see you. Thanks so much. That's great. Yay. And there we go. And Alicia, yay. Great to see you as well. And thank you, Adida, for coming by. Any final thoughts, Melinda?
Just that, we're all in it together, and keep your chin up and just keep digging in, because you'll figure something out.
Yeah. You're all problem solvers, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Stay strong, stay focused, reach out for help. Stay healthy and safe wherever you're glowing. Thanks again. I'll see you the next time. Mwah.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Bye.